Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. At the end of the day, you guys, if this is your first time tuning in to this show, welcome. This is the real side of freight. Anybody who comes on my weekday show here with me, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, is a transportation professional. This is brought to you by people who are in the industry, who are active in the day-to-day, and who could actually tell you what a fifth wheel was. And they're not trying to be wannabe thought leaders who, frankly, couldn't give two shits less about the health of this industry, the pulse of this industry. And that's what we're out here for, you guys. We're here to bring you guys information that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It is one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. Not only is this the greatest nation on earth, but I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well. It's going to be another solo show today. I do have a guest coming on tomorrow, though. And, we're just going to break some stuff down today. And then with it being a solo show, I'm going to do a little bit of a lane analysis on a completely random lane that I have chosen. And it's going to be about reading those freight markets and everything else. But before we get into any of that fun stuff, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, at the end of the day, we all need access to freight. We all need access to trailers. And for my small fleets out there, for my owner operators, you guys should never have to shut your operation down because you have a trailer in the shop. And the best part about with what they have, you get paid to move this. All right, you get paid to move these trailers. And that's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out. So with what they're working on right now, they got a reefer up in Milton, Ontario, going to Montreal, Quebec for $250 Canadian. They also have Galt, California, a dry van going to Hutchins, Texas. You get $500 US for that. They have Winnipeg, Manitoba, going to Vaughan, Ontario. They got a dry van up there for $500 Canadian. And then finally, they got a flatbed down in Macomb, Mississippi, going up to Brighton, Colorado for $1,600 US on that flatbed. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they will be in the audience. And just do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. David Nelson, what's up, my man? Thanks for joining in. He's watching over on YouTube. Whitney Young, good fucking morning to you. Let's get this going. It's been a minute, Whitney. Whitney's out there making moves. Nathan Granada, America. That's right, brother. That is right. Rick Wooten, good morning, all. Let's go. I think this is the 199th live show. I could be off on my math, and that's always has to do with the fact that I went to public school. But tomorrow, we're calling tomorrow's show the 200th live show episode. On that, we're not doing anything, over the top or special because I, have a lot of stuff going on, and we are, just going to come in and bring the facts like we do every day. But this is also the reminder that this is the 199th time that I'm bringing up the fact that there are some real issues in this industry, like truck parking. If you talk to our drivers out there, truck parking is like their top issue, as well as the fact that there isn't access to facilities and food and, basic human necessities and, rights, I would argue. And it's not out there. And we're going to continue to talk about this stuff. I don't just do this when it's cool on social media so I can get some vanity likes on my posts, because it's not about that to me. It's about changing the industry. It's about making an actual difference in this industry. And I'm going to continue to bring this shit up until there's actual tangible change out there. Also, here's another subtle reminder. Don't shoot the messenger, but diesel is still at $4.54 a gallon nationwide. It's up 90 cents a gallon year over year. And again, I get that information from the EIA, you guys, EIA.gov. Hit that up. It's just a great way for you to help plan out some of your bids and everything else. And yeah, we are definitely going to continue on with the show. Michelle LeBlanc, what's up? Good morning to you. Dude, you guys got to hit up Drop and Hook content. Michelle's the best in the game. Work with her on that. If you got a company out there and you need help with some content marketing and everything else, hit up Michelle LeBlanc with Drop and Hook. All right? Hit her up. DM me if you don't know how to get a hold of her. I'll put you in direct contact with them. Paul McClellan, let's move some shit. Amen to that. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning, orange shirt gang. Let's fucking go. Matt Fink in the house, 200. I appreciate that, man. We are definitely going to be at the 200 live show tomorrow. I got like my 250th podcast is dropping in the next couple of weeks as well. So yeah, man, it's been quite a journey here. Combined, we'll be at the 1,000 mark early next year at this point. And yeah, man, it's going to be stuff that we're going to continue to do day in and day out. We're not stopping. We're not stopping at all. You know, we're going to be bringing so much more validity and information to the industry to keep moving this industry forward. And then, you know, also another thing to all my friends out there who are drivers who are listening to this, you guys are always welcome to come on and have your concerns voiced on my show, completely uncensored, everything else. That's the way I roll. I believe in freedom of speech. And I want you guys to come on here and keep it real with people because they need to know what's going on out there from you guys, not from a fucking survey and stuff like that. So DM me if you ever want to jump on the show. Dan, the driver row, what's up? Yeah, the 200. Yeah, that's the best part about my content, Dan, is it is free for all the viewers. There's no subscription fees or anything like that. I appreciate you joining in, Dan. April Maroney, let's fucking go as well. Matt Peterson, what's up, brother? Let's fucking go. Thanks for joining, everybody. All right. We're going to do a little lane analysis here. This is completely random city to random city. We are going to do Cleveland, Ohio, going to Little Rock, Arkansas for a flatbed. Now, if you pull it out, it's currently moving with fuel right now at $2.90 a mile. But if you scale it back to the 90-day freight cycle, it was down to $2.56 90 days ago. It held firm at that. At the 60-day mark, it was at $2.55. And then that spike happened at the 30-day mark here due to the holidays. And then if you pull up the 15-day mark, and it stayed steady for the last 2 weeks at $2.75. But post-holiday, it jumped up to $2.90 a mile. So again, if you're out there bidding on freight for the short-term, long-term, whatever that looks like, pay attention to these drops. And if you pulled this out a little bit further back, let me see here. Yeah, if you go back out to the 1 year mark on this, it's pretty much held steady over that time frame. So if you're locking in rates for a year, this is a good data point for you to pull out if you're going to price your freight directly to customers and everything else based on this. If they're doing an annual RFP, if they're doing a biannual RFP or a quarterly, that's where you need to really focus in on the 30, 60, and 90-day mark to help you bid out your freight to lock in that long-term business here. I mean, obviously, for any of you guys who have been in the industry, you know what Q1 is going to be, what it's going to look like out there for most freight. You know, freight volumes might dip a little bit. Rates are going to be, you know, a little spotty, but it's going to start picking up here. I think we're going to see more of a standard freight cycle throughout this year about holiday rushes and everything else as things have eased and everything. So yeah, let's get into some articles. There's been some fucking, some big news out there. Aaron, what's up? Good fucking morning. Keep moving freight forward from Phoenix. Yeah, you guys, if you didn't know, Phoenix, Arizona is actually the freight capital of North America. We're pretty much, I'm proclaiming it. So, you know, Chicago, Chattanooga, peace. You guys are out. Best damn outbound location in the nation, Cleveland Rock. Every time I hear the city, Cleveland, I think of the Drew Carey show. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but the Cleveland Rocks theme song. Nathan Granada says, yeah, drivers are boots on the ground. Data is skewed, in my opinion, like rates possibly don't take into account. Yeah, 200. Yeah, we can talk about whatever the hell we want on this show. All right, so first article we are going to break down today, though, you guys, is from DAT. It's their blog. I follow Dean Croak a lot. I follow Ken Adamo a lot as well, and they've come on the show because I just truly appreciate their perspectives and what they have. And, you know, Dean, if you don't know, still owns trucks out there as well. So he's got a pulse on it, on a lot of things. So market update, U.S. oil supply explained. We've all seen the driving along our interstates and in our cities, thousands of huge oil storage tanks storing various products and everything else. They're all located in specific geographic regions to help users analyze data, including supply and demand. According to the EIA, who's also where I get the fuel stuff from, the Petroleum Administration for Defense Districts, Jesus, how many government agencies do we have? Our geographic aggregates of 50 states and the District of Columbia into 5 districts. Let me see here. They're talking about fuel rationing during World War II. And then how much oil supply do we really have? And this is what I wanted to bring up is in October, some social and mainstream media claims that the U.S. would run out of diesel by Thanksgiving week. And they were predictably incorrect, which we were very all aware of, that we weren't going to run out of diesel. That news sent truckers into a spin into the lead up of November's midterms elections, fearing the country was about to run out of fuel. That same fear still exists today. The misleading headlines centered on the number of days in which inventory the U.S. had in reserve, which at the time was a low of 25.9 days. That was the lowest inventories had been since 2008 and have since increased to 29 days in November. For context, the 30-year average is 35 days of total distillate supply. An EIA spokesman told Reuters that the measurement for days of supply only accounts for fuel in storage. Days of supply does not consider other sources, the amount of distillate fuel being produced at the U.S. refineries and the amount of distillate fuel imported to the United States. So that is literally, so when you hear that we only have 25 days in supply or 25 days of diesel left, that is what has already been produced and is sitting in those storage tanks. It does not include fuel that is being imported in here. It does not include fuel that is being currently refined or anything like that. And that was why I really wanted to make a point of this. And especially seeing that if you pull out the 30-year average, we generally sit at 35 days of diesel in our reserves. So yes, 25 days. And it's scary to think about too. And then again, a lot of mainstream media is only there to get you to click on their links. And so that can drive ad revenue traffic out to their stuff. Like they're not concerned about, the owner operator who reads that. They don't give a shit about us. So that I thought it was very important to bring this article up of when you hear these things. I'm not saying like that it was a good thing that it was down to 25 days and everything, but there's always 3 sides to every story. And I say 3 sides because it's your version, my version, and the truth. And, we have to do our best to really pull apart a lot of these misleading headlines that can come out there and drive panic and everything else, just like fucking toilet paper back in 2020, as we all know. All right. So according to the EIA, the U.S. can store 2.2 billion barrels, 94 billion gallons of crude and refined products. Much of that is crude oil, with hydrocarbon gas liquids such as propane coming in second, followed by gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. In September, ultra low sulfur diesel distillate inventory stood at just 2.9 billion gallons against an average daily consumption rate of 168 million gallons. Inventories are low and prices are high, to be sure, but truckers are not about to run out of diesel. And that's what I love about Dean breaking this down out there, because it doesn't have anything to do with the prices. Yes, I understand that the reserves are at historic lows and everything else, and I'm not a fan of what has currently happened about what the current administration has done to not help our diesel or our fuel supply and everything else. Again, if this is your first time tuning in, I am very much a massive proponent of American jobs and drilling here in America and having our own stuff and having zero foreign dependence on anything. We should be fully dependent upon ourselves for everything and then exporting as a value. Again, I'm a firm believer you got to take care of your house, take care of your people, and then you can take care of everybody else at that point. But yeah, it was an interesting read on this. And I just really appreciate Dean's perspective on a lot of things. That, you guys, if you want to find that article, dat.com/blog, and it's a market update, U.S. oil supply explained. There was some big news yesterday. Big news yesterday about a lot of layoffs that happened. And first and foremost, I personally hate reading these articles. I hate breaking down when you see Amazon lays off 18,000 people, Flexport yesterday, which is in the industry, laying off 20% of their workforce. I hate bringing it up because those are real people that are now out of a job, and that they're going into some very uncertain times with whatever you want to say. I mean, rest assured, if you're truly a hardworking, badass motherfucker that a lot of us like to tell ourselves, you'll be just fine. You'll find work. I just hate seeing these layoffs happen, knowing how the last couple of years have gone, where people were panic hiring, they were overpaying. And that was my biggest concern about what that was going on. When I was hearing the numbers that some of these individuals were locking in, is I called it out back then. And again, the beauty about somebody who talks as much shit as I do into a mic is it's all recorded. I have a catalog of everything. So I have receipts for a lot of this stuff. And my biggest concern is all of these individuals who are locking themselves in were going to be the first ones out the door. And that's seemingly what has happened at a lot of technology companies out there, is that they're laying off massive amounts of people. So we're going to do a co-article breakdown here because I wanted to bring in two separate news sources to show all of the true story on this. So the first one was from Business Insider, and it was that they cut 20% of their employees 4 months after Dave Clark took over the busy supply chain startup. And, you know, it has an $8 billion valuation, told employees on Wednesday it's laying off 20% of its staff as a result in the global downturn in trade and a new, more efficient corporate structure. The cuts will come from across the world, according to a message sent to Flexport CEOs or from employees from co-CEOs Ryan Peterson, who founded the company in 2013, and Dave Clark, who joined Flexport in September. Flexport is the middleman between carriers like ocean shipping lines, airlines, and trucking firms, and the companies with goods to move. The unicorn startup has raised billions on the promise of bringing more technology and transparency to an OPEC supply chain. I wouldn't necessarily call them a unicorn, but I digress. Flexport makes money when it facilitates these freight moves. So when the amount of freight moving around the world declines, so does its revenue. Lower volumes combined with improved efficiencies as a result of new organizational and operational structures means we are overstaffed in a variety of roles across the company. The company had another round of layoffs in 2020 when trade dipped as COVID-19 spooked supply chains. What followed was a boom for nearly all supply chain providers, including Flexport. But the fire hose of freight is now more of a trickle, and many logistics businesses are right-sizing their workforces to adjust to the new market reality. Flexport announced last year it would replace founder and CEO out there. The two are currently working as co-CEOs as Ryan Peterson transitions out. After a $935 million Series E round in February, Peterson told that the company has $1.2 billion in cash in the bank. And so, yeah, the article itself, I think, because again, I'm going to read you the direct article that Flexport sent out to its staff. Team, we begin the new year with more optimism than ever about fucking A. We begin the year with more optimism than ever about Flexport's future. There's a lot to be proud of. Together as a team, we have made significant strides to streamline our operations and strengthen our commitment to build the best technology and products that benefit of our current and future customers. While we are looking forward about what's to come in 2023, we must also make hard decisions to set us up for long-term success. We are overall in a good position. We are not immune to the macroeconomic downturn that has impacted business around the world. Our customers have been impacted, resulting in a reduction of overall volume forecasts, lower volumes combined with improved efficiencies as a result of new organizational operational structures means we are overstaffed. As a result, we are reducing the size of our organization. We are grateful out there. Every Flexporter whose role, I'm summarizing it at this point. Every Flexporter whose role is being eliminated will be notified by email with specific information to them and their exit. In parts of the world, they'll be notified in the next few hours. Local HR teams will reach out in other parts of the world. Departures will support for U.S. employees, and talks about the severance and everything else. All roads ahead for Flexport is it's going to be an extraordinary velocity. We are in the process of doubling our software engineering talent and moving into single-thread business organization to build out world-class provider. The current slowdown in volume, yada, 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 a bunch of corporate bullshit, pretty much saying, fuck off, we're going to pay you for 12 weeks to go away, and everything else. And yeah, people aren't immune. I understand that there's downturns and everything, and people aren't immune to changes and everything that goes on out there. I just hate seeing it. I hate seeing it. And, frankly, I would love to see a company just come out and say, hey, we hired for the peak of the post-COVID freight rush, and now you're being eliminated because the market downturned, and just be real with people, just be real with them. And that's just what's not happening in a lot of this. And, it's also, it's funny, the articles that are written that are like trying to soften the blow, because Flexport's a golden child to a lot of companies that they pay lots of money to advertise on their sites. So I would love to hear the real side of what really happened with this. Essentially, and again, you guys, when you scale it back and you look at the fact that they just raised almost $1 billion here recently, at some point in time, you can't just raise money, right? You gotta, what's that one thing? You make money. All right. You have to become profitable at some point. And I would love to see what the cost savings are of eliminating 700 positions and what that will actually save Flexport. And then my hunch here, I don't know for certain. My hunch is at some point this year, you'll talk about how Flexport is extremely profitable and everything else. And then the narrative is going to change. And it's going to have a lot to do with the fact that they laid off a lot of people, because the market has slowed down for it. There isn't just a $20,000 container from fucking China to the US anymore. It's back down to normal. So, again, it's funny to see that some of these other articles, though, are like bringing up other companies that laid off people as well, to kind of like try and just smoke screen the fact that this 700 people just lost their jobs. And, it's like, oh, 700 is not that bad, because look at Amazon. Amazon laid off 18,000. And, Elon Musk, of course, you got to bring in Elon Musk to this for some fucking reason, that he cut people and everything else. Like it's just insane. It's like they're literally people who are in a really bad position right now because of this. And it's like some of these media sources are kind of like fucking celebrating it in a sense, be like, oh, it's not that bad because all these other people are getting cut too. So again, if you are affected by these layoffs at Flexport, please reach out to me. I know a lot of people who are hiring in this industry and everything else, and we can collectively come together to help support these individuals who have lost their jobs from this. So again, you guys, let's step up as an industry and help these individuals out, find employment. Stephen Title, thanks for joining. A little late, but good morning, everyone, he says. And let me see, Dylan Turner says, good fucking morning. Let's get some extreme ownership on any issues as driver, freight forwarder, shipper, receiver. Louis, what's up? He says, great day, brokers. Natasha Rich says, first time being able to join. Thanks for joining, Natasha. Nathan Granada says, import lanes are fed up with California too, not fully returning. All right, third and final article. And hey, as always, you guys, I upload all the links to these articles on my YouTube channel, The Freight Coach, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio-only replay, which will be available on iTunes and Spotify almost immediately after the show. Third and final article is from FreightWaves, and it's fur flies as Teamsters began hashing out UPS negotiation strategy. Union number 2 says cost neutrality out the window as it expects to take from UPS what members deserve. Fuck, that statement just fucking drives me nuts. The contract negotiation process between UPS and the Teamsters was expected to get loud and emotional, judging from comments made at the first Teamsters meeting to discuss bargaining strategy. And the union didn't disappoint. On Monday in Washington, Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien and General Secretary Treasurer Fred Zuckerman convened a meeting of what is known as the UPS National Screening Committee. The gathering brought together topics representing from dozens of UPS to review proposals that the Teamsters may or may not take into upcoming talks with the nation's largest transportation company. The contract, which covers approximately 350,000 UPS employees, is the largest of its kind, and it typically runs for 5 years. At the meeting, O'Brien reiterated his clear message to UPS that a contract must be agreed to no later than August 1st, the day after the current pact expires. If not, the union will strike, according to Bryan. So when I hear that, here we are in January, and this guy's coming out and saying that they're going to strike. Do these drivers who are paying union dues, I don't know this, but does the union pay these drivers? Or does a guy like O'Brien collect his salary while the drivers are fucking hung out to dry and not collecting a paycheck? I'm curious on how that works. O'Brien said that the company will take a hard line on UPS expanding its use of non-union personal vehicles, drivers who deliver packages using their own vehicles and get reimbursed by the company on a per mile basis. So it sounds like the union's trying to tell UPS that they can't operate their business and that they must ask for the union's permission. Another key issue is the status of the so-called 22.4 drivers, full-time drivers who are paid less than full-time drivers who typically work Tuesday through Saturday instead of Monday through Friday. The Teamsters want to bring those drivers up to senior pay scales. Subcontracting and part-time wages are other issues that we'll bring to the table. But the toughest language came from Zuckerman, who has battled UPS for years as head of Louisville, Kentucky's Local 89, the largest Teamster local in the company system. Sean is going to pick a fight with this company, and that fight is to get the very best contract we can get for our members. The contract will be unlike prior ones where UPS said it wanted what Zuckerman called a cost-neutral outcome. It's not going to be a cost-neutral outcome, Zuckerman said, of the 2023 agreement. We are going to take from them what our members deserve. UPS executives have said publicly they expect negotiations to start relatively late and get heated. CEO Carol B. Tomei, who will be sitting in her first contract, said she expects the agreement to yield mutual benefits. The timing of the contract virtually ensures that the rank and file will receive a significant wage bump. The current contract, negotiated in 2018 but was not ratified until the following year, has allowed UPS to skirt the significant labor cost inflation that has hit FedEx. UPS would be willing to agree in significant wage increases in return for muted concessions. So the so-called end areas like work rules, according to a source familiar, the Teamsters, which have created a separate division dedicated to organizing Amazon.com. Warehouse workers have said the UPS will serve as a template to demonstrate how Amazon should join the union. All right, let me see. In a somewhat surprising twist, UPS, which counts Amazon as the largest individual customer, is mulling a strategy where it would turn a blind eye to Teamsters' efforts to use its wage success at UPS to leverage against Amazon. As of 2022, Amazon accounted for 11% of UPS's revenue. The two-day Teamsters meeting ended Tuesday. Its small package division, which were responsible, has so far received more than 11,000 proposals from local leaders and rank and file suggesting how to structure the complex situation. Besides the agreement, UPS and Teamsters will negotiate a multitude of local agreements as supplementals. Yeah, oh my gosh. Every time I read shit like this, it just drives me fucking nuts. You know, it really does. It truly does, because going in and having these guys try and get people to organize inside of your organization, as the Teamsters do and are notorious for, like, it just doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well for business. And again, shocking, how does the Teamsters function? Off of what? The individuals paying dues. That's what funds these fucking guys. All right. So they're going after these individuals so they can make money on it. Like, it's not going to benefit the workers. Like, I'm convinced of this. I'm convinced of this at this point, that the union is in place to essentially fucking bang their drum and, well, workers' rights and everything else, while they increase union dues and everything else and take money out of those people's pockets at the end of the day, and they try and fucking leverage it and force a business to becoming a union. Like, I don't understand it. I understand the initial, how the unions were started. I get all of that. I truly understand the benefit of what it was founded upon, but I think it has gone completely off the fucking rails at this point. The fact that this fucking guy, Sean O'Brien, is going to say, oh, everyone's going to fucking strike. Come on, man. Like, this is ridiculous to me. This is absolutely ridiculous to me. Who are these guys? Who are these drivers employed by? Are they employed by UPS? Or are they employed by the union? I honestly don't know the answer to that question. So I would like some clarification on this, because again, if they're employed by UPS, I feel like they should answer to UPS at that point. But again, I'm just, stuff like this just drives me up the wall, because who's losing out if it goes on strike? The workers are losing out. The people that they're quote unquote paid to fucking represent are the ones who are going to be without pay, while they're sitting around and probably flying private and everything else, and sitting from their porch and and out there fucking yelling and screaming and demanding, while the drivers are the ones who are going without paychecks and their families are affected. But I guarantee the leadership of these unions are still collecting a fat salary while all this shit's going on. That article was from FreightWaves, you guys. Fur flies as Teamsters begin hashing out UPS negotiation strategy. And that's it for today, you guys. We got some comments here. Andre Stewart, what's up? He said, great topic. I absolutely hate when folks get laid off. I wish we had a better way of protecting workers. I always encourage folks to get their hands on quarterly earnings statements. Those numbers tell you the future. He also says, what does it mean to take work? Andre, I would love to know what that means, to take from workers what they reserve. UPS ought to lobby the current White House administration and get them in line to intercede. Rail strike aversion. I know it was based on a congressional law, but that does not exist for UPS, but the optic is certainly awkward. Sam Penrod, he says that we are looking for outside sales reps in Atlanta, Dallas, Louisville, and Indy. Go fclogistics.com/careers, he says. And Nathan Granada, they add unnecessary jobs for dues, lowering wages for actual workers. Can't argue with that, Nathan. But hey, that's it for today, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Episode 200 is tomorrow. And as always, you guys, if you guys saw value in what we talked about here, share the show, because that's how we've grown. That's how we are the top podcast in transportation. And we're going to continue to grow and continue to expand our reach and continue to help individuals stay in business and stay profitable because of each and every one of you. Because if you guys see value in what we're talking about here, chances are your network is going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.